fairly some time. I'm not like a professional at it by any means, but you know, I've worked on enough cars and trucks and boats and just about everything in my life, so this is really just kind of help some of you out there. Maybe your mower's doing the exact same thing. This is, I would say, fairly common with these because the way that these work, these Honda engines, they have what's called the auto choke system. You know, what it is basically a diaphragm that's on top of the muffler over here, so that when the muffler gets hot enough, it will expand the metal and push a push rod back, which will adjust the carburetor. Now I'm guessing this one's stuck. Picked it up by the dumpster, and well, I'll just show you what it does. So we got some fresh oil in it. Need an air filter cover, but that's not a big deal because right now I just want to make sure that this thing's fixable. And, you know, I don't want to get too far into it if it's, you know, broke. But let's show the exhaust side. It has been sitting for a moment, so but this what it's going to do. This symptom is a good indication of fuel or overfueling. So here's what we got. So okay, so what we had there was black smoke, and black smoke is usually 99% of the time always an indication of fuel. If it's blue, it's usually oil. If it's white, it's usually coolant. Usually white can sometimes be a couple of different things, but most of the time it's almost always going to be coolant. So let's get this taken apart and let's get down into it. So another thing I'd like to show real quick is how the ignition on this particular thing works. Let me get the camera here, as I miss everything. So there is a switch here. There we go, nice overhead view. I don't know if that's going to work out. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's the ignition kill switch. So when that's pushed in, the ignition is turned on, and when it's turned off, ignition will stop. So this thing won't backfire, at least has a good chance of never backfiring. This is a brake that stops the flywheel from moving. So this will also stop the engine abruptly, or slow it down, slow it down very fast. That's the coil, that's the return spring, obviously, for the brake. So you know, when you're mowing and you've got the handle engaged up here, it will disengage the brake, let you start the mower, yada yada. Okay, so that's nothing. I checked to make sure it was free because it looks like it's been rubbing, but that's probably just when you stop it and it's still spinning. So let's go ahead and do some more investigation, and we'll figure out why this guy's doing what it's doing. Also, sorry for the chaos over here. Everything was clean until I emptied my truck and trailer, and now I'm trying to find a home for everything. So, but let's continue. Blurred image, the back of my camera lens is broken. It's just a bit dirty, but anyway. So here's what we got to work with. This is the auto choke system. I mean, it works a little bit different than I thought. However, same idea. There's a diaphragm that is inside this between the cylinder head and this system right here, which has got a push rod. It's kind of difficult to see, but you may be able to see it right there. And I guess we just aren't going to focus at all. Okay, so anyway, we'll back out. But as this thing heats up, it pushes this open like that. And if you look, the choke is already closed. The choke is this plate in the front. So as we heat up, this push rod will slowly push open until eventually it's hot enough where it holds it open all the way. Now, it doesn't have to be very hot. I mean, it will poke itself out pretty quick. But the issue that I'm seeing, which may not be an issue at all, is right here it seems to catch just a little bit. But I don't think it's our problem. I think our problem may have been a stuck float, or the cylinder may just be full of fuel. Because I didn't really see anything when I took it apart. So we're going to put it back together and see how everything is. I did clean up the carburetor. It looked pretty good. All the air passages were clear. All the fuel passages were clear. We'll go more in depth with that in just a moment. Sure enough, we've got this figured out. If it runs for a couple of minutes, maybe a minute or two, it will begin to die. And the reason it's dying is you may, let me get a light and show you what's going on. I mentioned this a minute ago. So, if you can see, there's the choke as I was speaking of. And as this is running, I put some clamps on it. It's kind of hard to hold all this at once, but it hangs up and it starts to die. And as soon as I do this, push on the diaphragm and open it, it begins to run completely fine. So I'm going to order a new diaphragm because I think it's broken. I'm not exactly sure what's going on in there because, like I said, it's very stiff and you can hear it pop. So I'm guessing the diaphragm broke, and that's what's going on. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and get an air filter. I don't know. I'll probably keep the air filter. I mean, it's pretty clean, honestly. Good kind of rule of thumb is that water softener's turning on. Good rule of thumb is that if you can see light through an air filter like this, then it's pretty clean. So this is a good air filter. Nothing's really come out of it. And so I'll probably do that. I guess just for the heck of it, we'll see if the self-propulsion works. Let's check her out, see what happens. I'm guessing it probably does. I'm guessing that's why this thing ended up where it did. Is probably because this thing is starting to die. I'm fairly certain somebody just didn't want to deal with it anymore. Which the nice thing is, I actually have another Honda engine sitting in my shed, so I'll probably just go ahead and take the diaphragm off of that because I've never done anything with that engine. I'm going to put it on this and probably just order another one just if this happens again, I don't have to go into dig parts. But anyway, let's try that. Nope, that's not a problem at all. That's all it is. Okay. Well, that's simple enough to fix. That's maybe 5 minutes. I didn't really film taking the carburetor off because there was a lot of stuff to do. It's honest to God 4 bolts that holds everything together. But there's multiple gaskets and there's just multiple things to take off, and it's hard to hold all of it in your hand at once. You really need, I really need my GoPro on to show all that, but that's what the problem is. It's just the auto choke system itself. You could really zip tie or do something to hold the choke open, but the problem with that is when you go to start it, the choke won't be closed, so it may take a lot of pulls to get this thing going. But these, I really love these engines. I mean, they're just extremely easy to work on. They have a fuel shutoff on them usually. They also have 2 governor spots, so if you want like a higher speed, which is I think 3200 RPM, you can set it to that. If you want the slower speed, which I think is 2750, you just move the spring position over one and it idles a little bit slower. Kind of an advantage to that is if it idles lower, you actually get more torque out of it. The other way around, you get more horsepower. However, this is, something that you use to, not for speed, you use this to cut a lot of grass, or a lot of torque is required to do the work. So one thing I usually do is I like to set mine high, and that way when it does start to bog down, it actually hits the torque curve, so that usually I'm just right at that sweet spot. Now, I also have a couple of GXV 190s, so they're a little bit beefier than this one, but this is still a pretty good motor. So if you see an old Honda running around, laying around, most likely this is probably what the problem is. It's just that little diaphragm. And I'm not endorsing this website, but this is what I use to get 99% of the stuff I use in all my equipment, which is jacksmallengines.com. You simply look up the part number, or you might just know the model. In this case, it's a Honda engine, so chances are I could just type in, GXV 160 or something like that. GSV, I forget. There's different lines of it, commercial, residential. Each engine's slightly different, but for the most part, they're all about the same. And then he'll show you a part diagram very easy to understand. It'll show you, multiple pictures, and you'll click on the subsection that you want to take a look at, and the part will be right there. You'll click it, and it'll tell you the part number. It'll tell you how much it is. Now, the great thing about this is that you can take that part number usually and go to Amazon, or you can go to eBay if you really wanted to, or you can call up your dealer and give them that part number, and that will go exactly to whatever their price is. So they might even have a cheaper deal. Believe it or not, dealers do actually have cheaper prices on some of this stuff. So, like I said, unfortunately it's like 11 o'clock at night. I'm not going to bother taking this part off and putting it on. But like I said, I've already kind of verified this is what's wrong with it. So we're going to be selling this one this spring, because I should be able to be into it pretty cheap. I'm going to get, if I can get them, some wheel bearings, because the wheels are kind of wobbly in the back, and then get some front tires for it, just so it looks good, and we should be ready to go. So thanks for watching.